Good deal. He did change it.
Did change?
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. That change, making that change moving forward for you guys. Oh, look at the time. You ready? Sure. Are you recording? Good morning, everybody. We are here on this, the 9th day of July, 2024 for a regular meeting of the Hill County Commissioners Court. Let the record reflect that meeting notice was posted in the east door of the courthouse and online in Court's Texas Government Code 551043. Further, this meeting is being held both in person and online. I'm at a bit of a disadvantage today. I do not have Ms. Paula. When your secretary of 44 years takes off and tells you to spend time with grandkids, that's exactly what happens. So for any mistakes that I'm about to make, please forgive me. But for this, I don't have anybody that signed up to speak online in public forum beforehand. So that means I can move on to the part where I asked for the invocation. Pat, would you be so kind to give us the invocation? Thank you.
Let us pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, we pray your blessing upon us as Commissioners Court this morning, that you bless our mayor, our commissioners, and all who serve our county. Bless our nation, Father. We pray for those who serve in our military, our men and women, both here and especially those serving overseas. May everything we do this day be done to your glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. If all the pledge to Texas and the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Well, I'm happy to see everybody this morning. Thank you so much for being with me, sir. You'll have a good day and going to eat. Okay. All right, all right. We'll start on the other end of the table today. Commissioner Lake, what's happening in Precinct 4, Hill County?
Well, we're working on roads and we're gonna be shredding around the jail today to try to get the woolly next one.
Thank you, appreciate that.
So anyway, that's what we're doing.
Good deal. What's happening in Precinct 3?
Oh, cleaned up a few trees from the wind we had yesterday and.
Yeah, radar looked like y'all gonna get a whole lot of rain.
We were right on the edge, it's right on the edge. Got some rain, so we're blading a few roads this morning.
Oh, good deal.
I'm going to blow it over and fixing, we got a big job on 31, and we'll start cleaning ditches.
Oh,
So, bear with us on that end.
I understand. That's a heck of a job. Commissioner Crumpton, what's going on in Precinct 2?
About the same thing, got a shredder going and I'm hooking from the spray rig and putting the shredding roads edges and it finally got rained so much and it was going back faster and it was, we tried to kill it. But we're still hauling, repairing some road from washouts and didn't get enough rain to hardly help drag blade any roads right now, but we're gonna try a few this week sometime.
Good deal, good deal.
Not fun, just dragging the film and work with TxDOT on the intersection of 1104 and 174. There's a huge washout and turning up a pit.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And I'm trying to get a meeting scheduled between TxDOT and Cemex, the Cemex will shut down.
That kind of,
Yeah, and we're thinking that it'll probably be an overnight deal, where they just shut the pit down early. And TxDOT will do the work, and when they have any trucks on for 12 hours or so.
good deal.
You know.
Best of luck with that.
Yeah, it seems to be, everybody seems to be pretty neat.
Good deal. I'm glad to hear that. I found this guy that we've got out there right now, TxDOT, pretty easy to work with. So what's happening today in IT, Philip?
This week, well, I was out last week, so playing a little bit catch up. But this week we're gonna kick off the non-bank conversion project, and we're gonna extract all vote out of it. Coordinate to get those guys access to that system so they can begin that process.
Good deal.
So that's a major project for me. And
Yeah.
So we're really happy.
We're looking forward to that, yeah.
Yeah, I well. Other than that, I need to follow up with the sheriff's office about the Itasca Spillman access. And so I'll go with Mr. Jackson later on today and just gotta get caught up on that. So.
Good deal, good deal. Appreciate it. Anything from the SO? Saw you walk in late, so I thought I'd call you. No worries.
No, just trying to work towards transition and get ready for budget, because I'm gonna include them, I'll send it in the sheet too.
Okay, cool. Good. All right. What's happening in, see you over there. What's happening in emergency management, Tom?
Well, we finished up some projects. We did hear about FEMA, we were approved for the class B.
Yes, sir.
So any emergency repairs that will be covered in FEMA. It's eligible for reimbursement. With all the stuff that was put in the Dropbox last week, CPM was going back to FEMA
Good.
and go reapply and try to get them to include us in all of it. That way we would be eligible for the hazard mitigation funds or possibly the big project that really needs to happen.
I was on a conference call yesterday that TDM puts on, you get notice of it, you know, every couple of days. And they had a Zoom, what's a conference call? It's a Zoom conference call. They laid out, first time I have seen in more detail exactly what they're looking for. If they could give us a month ago, this would be handy, but
Well, I called Martin the weekend when they put us in this declaration before it took place. I called them, I said, listen, y'all are just totally changing things the way that we're used to it being done. Typically, we'd have damage, we would declare a disaster, we would do a damage assessment, send it to them.
and now you get the Lieutenant Governor plan disaster politics.
We're just automatically added without doing anything, without really anything at all. I mean, it's just they're trying, TDM's trying to improve the process, make it easier, and it is easier for the bigger communities that have manpower and clerical staff that can just have nothing better to do than just do paper.
Gotcha.
I mean, and one of the things I have been very vocal about, it's unfair to rural communities where y'all are out working. You don't have people sitting in the office that can just come up and give them all this information on the whim. So I don't know how that's gonna change going forward, but we are. So it's not gonna get.
Yeah, it was still think next week.
Well, we can try. I mean, if I feel better.
I feel better if I complain.
40 years, I know it's like.
I'm gonna get a T-shirt that says, I feel better when I can complain.
But, you know, other than that, I mean, we're trying trying to get everything going, trying to transition where Chris has control of everything for a while. He pretty much had it control everything before, but I'm just trying to make him think, you know.
Oh, man, we don't build silos here. We cross-train
There's
everybody.
one question I do have, have we posted in the paper the RFIP?
I believe the answer is yes, but I don't have the paper in front of me. I believe the answer is yes, but we'll check after court.
Oh, I just need to make sure that, sorry.
Pretty solid.
I don't think it's a big audit. Let's see the actual.
Okay, well, we'll have to look. Yeah, you can contact Paul, yes, and see, but yeah. All right, Chris, what you got in regular administration?
Nothing new right now.
Well, we got some good news on the grant, maybe?
Yeah, so yeah, other than we're got the preliminary approval and hopefully we'll find out everything in September.
And this would be the grant for expanding the radio system reliability better down in the southeast end of the county, correct? Good deal, appreciate that. Like pulling teeth. What's that?
Before you move on, prayers for you tomorrow, I think, for
Yeah.
smooth surgery and quick recovery.
11 o'clock in the morning. On the
Right.
All right, we'll be up there by 3 to heckle you, okay? What a friend's for if you can't heckle when you're down. Yeah, Miss Rachel, anything in your office? Oh, boy, no doubt, no doubt. Miss Susan, anything from you?
Not too much. We had a final conversation, Rachel and I, with the outside auditors
Okay,
yesterday, trying to prioritize some things, and Rachel worked, help getting the confirmation. Those haven't even been sent out.
oh, wow.
I don't know. But
Yeah,
they're getting under pressure to start their school district auditing, in August, so we really need. I told them we would work and just, get as much as we could by the end of the month. So
okay, good deal.
it's gonna be a rough month.
It's gonna be a rough month, and I hate to say August ain't gonna get better. I'm gonna drop some knowledge on you in a minute about that. Okay, well, I guess background to me, and it was said at budget time. So first and foremost, I'm gonna hand out to you guys and then to every elected official, the new budget calendar for how these things are gonna go. It's 2-page, it's a 1-page document, front and back. And you're gonna see that the front page, which is the budget hearing schedule, it looks just like it always has. You've got 2 days of budget hearings after we do the electeds. They're gonna pass through here with their requests, and on you guys. What's different is on the back side of that. On the back of it, you're gonna, and I'll make this available to everybody after court. On the back of this, used to, you had the county judge file a budget somewhere around, the end of July, because the statute said the county judge shall file a proposed budget by the last day of the 9th month of the fiscal year. But it was kind of, it was a malleable thing. Anyway, in 2021, and then in several sessions in 2023, they've obviously changed a lot of the way we do our budgeting. Under 111 of the local government code is where we find our authority and our direction of how we budget, how we lay things out. Now, how we elect officials, that's 152, quorums, it's 81 of the government code, 2605, the tax code. You're going to see all those things listed out to the right. We see the 2 calendars up top and then listed to the right of those things. This is a timeline of how things are going to have to be done. Why does it have to be done this way, Justin? Well, that's a great question you ask. The reason is because in 2023, it's effective now, is 111-007B. Texas Local Government Code, they have placed a 25-day timeline to hold a hearing on a proposed budget. So in 2021, they moved it back where the judge could file the proposed budget by August 15th. That's a drop dead date. The problem with that is they don't change anything in the elected official salary timeline. And then they turned around and changed a lot in the 2605 tax code timeline. So to get everything to work out the way it needs to, I have listed from April 30th through August 27th. And August 27th is when we're looking at adopting a rate. Remember, we used to have to hold 2 meetings in these notices. They simplified a lot of those notices when they went to the no new revenue rate, the voter approval rate. And just for anybody listening at home and for knowledge of people in here, there's no way that we could do the voter approval rate. We don't want to, but even if we wanted to, we couldn't. Because part of that is, you have to have that rate approved the 78th day before the general election. So the voters could vote on it. That means you'd have to have this done by August 19th, and it's not possible. To do that, you would have to really escalate a scale and do a lot of work without any knowledge. So what I've got down here is we're going through how the property value estimates are due when certified property, recommended date for county judge to file the proposed budget is 31st. I'm going to tell you, though, that I'm planning on filing it Friday, August the 2nd. Why Friday, August the 2nd? Because of how our publication lines up in our local newspaper on Thursdays. Because our regular meetings are scheduled on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday, though we do have every month, every week. I think in August this last year, we set as a regular meeting. Due to all that schedule, if we file it on the 2nd of August, the last day I have is the 27th day of August to take action under 111-007B. So I've structured everything, all of our notices, when we got to give it to the paper, when we got to post it outside, all that's laid out very clearly. Why did I do that? Because I guarantee I'm going to be wrong about something. And there is nobody better to point out where you're wrong than your fellow coworkers. They'll let you know real quick. So it's a hard way of doing review, but it definitely will work. So anyway, I'm just giving you guys that heads up. I'm not trying to push faster. There are some timelines now under these new House bills. And we're going to meet those timelines. That's our duty to do so. So where we're at, we're ahead of schedule right now. I'd like to think on some areas, behind on others. Rachel did us a huge job. She kept up to date on the budget book. So the big Excel worksheet that we create the budget in, that's almost up to date. I got a couple of questions to catch you later. Susan's already working on her end of things. We've sent out the letters, which is revenue. We've sent out the letters requesting expenditures. Those are starting to come back in. I really hope, by the beginning of next week to have most of those in. We're going to go through and try to make sure that we get a good solid budget together. Then the tax assessor collector submits the appraisal roll and current collection rates. A designated officer who, on the next meeting, I will ask you to redesignate the tax assessor collector as a designated officer calculating the no new revenue rate and the voter approval rate. We've already done it once, but it's not clear in the statute if you have to do it year to year, and it's a simple vote. We might as well do it to make sure we're doing things right. Then 72-hour notice of hearing, date the county judge intends to file. And then what everybody loves and looks forward to is August 6th and 7th. That's Tuesday and Wednesday, departmental budget hearings in commissioner's court. It's about as much fun as slamming your foot in the door, but we have to do it, so there'll be. Then you'll see that at 7th, there's a deadline. That's the last possible day that they can post the no new revenue and the voter approval rate. We have historically always had it before then, and I expect we will then as well. Again, we'll send 72-hour notice for commissioners on the 9th. On the 12th, we'll send notice of the public hearing of the budget to the paper. You can see those 2 codes that I cite you where that has to happen. Send notice of the meeting for the vote on the tax rate to the paper. That's a different notice. Used to, we combined all that together. That's clearly two different notices now about how it's laid out in the codes. So if you go on with the elected officials, we're going to meet on the third, we'll propose, put out our notice of meeting. We'll meet on the 9th, we'll meet on August 13th. On August 13th is going to be a busy day. We're going to send a notice of the meet on the tax rate, which will be the 27th August meeting, to the paper. We're going to propose elected official salaries that day. We're going to send notice of elected official salaries, as I am, to the paper that afternoon. That's going to be tight. I will try to figure out where we're going to be ahead of time, get that stuff to Miss Shannon. She can hold for me for an extra day, or has in the past. That's the only part of this plan that's not 100% spot on. But I think we've got a way to work around it, talking with Sharon, or we'll talk with Shannon about it. Forgive me, Shannon. I know you're going to listen to this later. So we're going to give the elected official salaries notice to the elected officials. Of course, we have to do that because elected official doesn't like there's a statute that says you have to give it to this person in this time frame, so they have time to appeal it or grievance if they don't like it. And you'll see where that is under 152.013. We keep on moving around. August 15th, you'll see is a notice of budget hearing, tax rate, and elected salaries. That's a Thursday. It's going to run on the paper. That is the last day I have to file the proposed budget. So if everything went haywire, that would be the day, drop dead date. Again, I don't plan on waiting to the 13th to meet all these requirements. I plan on doing it on the 2nd of August and having it in then. We have a posted public hearings. We have to post certain hearings on our website for a certain number of days, depending on how we structure things. I gave us the longest time period we could there. On the 20th, we'll have another commissioners court meeting with budget workshops. You'll see every meeting in August is going to have a budget workshop on it. Public hearing on budget is the 27th, public hearing on tax rate, and then adopt the budget, adopt the M&O tax rate, adopt the INS, because 2605 of the tax code requires that you adopt those two at separate votes. Those are record votes. You guys remember when we raise your hand, everybody says yay or nay. So that's about 2 weeks of me digging through the code, trying to figure out where we're at, consulting with Texas Association of Counties, other counties. That is our proposed plan. Again, it's a tighter timeline than years past, and I know everybody's busy. That's going to make August rough around here. I'm not going to lie to you. We're going to be in here a good bit, and we're going to be talking with each other. But due to the legislature's moves, we have no choice. So that's what we're going to do. Anyway, so that's budgeting, which is all consuming. It's been taking up most of my life lately. We'll get down the road on that. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and move forward in this meeting. I'll update you on those things later. We didn't get the rain. The forecast, I understand, is hot and dry, like typical Texas winter, summer anyway. So what the heck? But at this time, moving along, is there anybody here for open forum? Somebody that wishes to address the court on something that is either is or is not on the agenda? If you would, please limit your comments to about 3 to 5 minutes in duration. And as we respect you, please show respect to the court. Anybody for open forum? Yes, ma'am. I'm going to start the timer. Oh, you got about 3 minutes.
I don't usually do this. So I don't really know if I'm going to do a good job, which makes me very sad. But anyway, I was here about a month ago and said what I had seen happen using the voting software and machines. And anyway, I went out to Tyler for an event called handcountroadshow.org. And a man who's an IT professional and highly skilled businessman gave a presentation to a fairly large group of people. And I was able to sit at the table where he did the demonstration of how we can do our elections using paper ballots, hand counting them. It was all very logical, and it was just very, very good. He also had, it was simple and inexpensive. And I don't know how much money, I'm sorry, I haven't done the research on how much the machines and the software costs, but some counties and even some countries are putting their machines aside and going to this hand counting system. And anyway, there's a little, it's sort of like this attached to the table, but it has a little camera on it to where, as the several people side by side count the votes. And like I said, it's very logical, very simple. And you, by it being visually recorded, then you are able to go back and see that nothing nefarious was done. And I guess that's all I have to say. handcountroadshow.org.
Thank you, Ms. Holly. I appreciate that. Anybody else for open forum this morning? Going once, going twice. We're going to move into the agenda. So first item on our agenda today, as normal, is going to be our consent agenda. And that is our action on minutes, action on invoices, action on payroll, action on the monthly report for revenue disbursement, and observe and record elected officials training certificates. And I have a training officials training certificate. Our own Commissioner Scotty Hawkins, he got himself successful completion of the what's that actual name of that program online, the cybersecurity? What is it?
No before.
Know Before. Thank you. He's done the Know Before. Anybody that touches county hardware, county infrastructure, IT is required to take the Know Before training. So thank you for that. Any other questions regarding? But yeah. Gotta work on that a little bit. Yeah, yeah. We'll send that list to everybody later. All right, any further comments on the consent agenda? All right. Motion is second to approve the consent agenda as presented today. Any changes, deletions, corrections, or otherwise snide comments? None. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I'm going to start the signature pages for the orders around. Again, I appreciate Ms. Parker and her office providing these in such an organized fashion because it sure does make my life easier. So, all right. All right, let's move on to our employee wage status change. The first court order today. We have employee wage status change. Yeah. For the 9th day of July, 2024, Ms. Paula Cunningham, the Sheriff's Office, is moving on to greener pastures. Wish you the best of luck. We have wage status change. Seth, over in precinct 2 meets qualification for job description. Good for him. Good deal. And he's been with us just a little bit of a while and
And working very well.
awesome. Great to hear that.
Brilliant.
And then Johnny in precinct 2, he's also meets the qualifications for the job description. And then Cody Brownlow meets qualification for the job description. And then Sonny Coleman is transferred from dispatch to jail. All right, Sonny. And then our new hires today will be Catherine Moore. We all know Catherine. Catherine didn't get rehired. So she's being split now between the auditor and the treasurer. You remember when we first went in, it was when the previous auditor was here and there wasn't a lot of cooperation. So we hired Ms. Moore into the treasurer's office to do a thing. Well, there's tons of cooperation now. And the treasurer's come back to me and said, hey, I can chair this employee. So they're going to pay, is it half out of treasurer and half out of auditor's office? And she's going to be the liaison. So that's a good thing. I'm happy to see that. And of course, we have Kathy's statement of appointment. And then, come on, fingers, there we go. You have the, again, the administrative order from the district court, which is required to appoint anybody to work in the auditor's office. Daisy Vasquez is going to be another new person. I met her yesterday. Wonderful. Did she start this week, you said?
Next Monday.
Next Monday. So she's going to be a new hire in the auditor's office. And you'll see that they have those records. And then, we have Tammy Triggs is the next person that's coming on in the auditor's office. So you'll have a full boat for the first time in a while. That's awesome. And then we have a Michael Sheehan of Farland and Broden Bridge number 1. That is moving up, I guess.
New hire.
Oh, new hire. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So those are the employee wage status changes for this date.
Make a motion approved.
Second.
Motion second. And any discussion, dissension? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. All right, moving along to number 2, and that is discussing a public hearing on the proposed designation of a certain property in unincorporated Hill County as a reinvestment zone under subchapter C, chapter 312 of the Texas Property Code. This designation would allow for tax abatement agreement to be entered into by the county and the owners of the property within the reinvestment zone. This reinvestment zone will be designated as reinvestment zone 18. So is anybody here to speak on that today? This is a Hubbard Energy Storage. This is a battery project, as I understand it. And they're going to enter into a road use agreement, even though they don't have to, in return for concessions from us. Go ahead, Mr. Dixon. Mr. Dixon is our counsel for economic matters.
Hubbard Energy Storage 2 LLC is a company that's proposing to put in a 100 megawatt AC battery energy storage system. The reinvestment zone would be approximately 10 acres in Eastern Hill County. Projected capital investment of approximately $115 million. Expected to be done by the first quarter of 2026. The scope would include concrete foundations, batteries, inverters, and transformers, containers, cabling, collection line, and collection station. And of course, in return for that, we require a road use agreement.
Correct.
And other matters. So
Yeah, we've used this project, Mr. Dixon was saying, we've used these solar projects. We don't have the ability to kill or stop anything. We're just a political subdivision of the state, so we can't stop them from coming. They'll come whether we like it or not. So our best deal is negotiate the best position we can. Again, we've said this 100 times in here. The reason we even talk about incentives is so that we can protect the roads, because they have the same right to use the roads as you and I do. But overnight, they can destroy a road. It'll take a couple $100,000 million, if not more, to fix. So what we do is enter into agreements, giving the bare minimum out in order to get these people into a contractual arrangement with the county, whereby we can designate what roads they use, what conditions, what they're going to pay, have to put up money up front, $100,000 security bond nowadays. Not a bond, forgive me, $100,000 in escrow. Caught myself on that one. Anyway, so what we're doing with this is simply trying to protect the investment that your taxpayers have in their roads. All the jokes make themselves at this point, so we don't have to worry about doing that about the road quality. But it's been a bad year for roads. Yeah. Anyway, so is there anybody here that wants to speak on this in a public hearing? For, against, in between, it doesn't matter. Yes, sir.
It may not be,
Oh, sorry, didn't see back there, Holly.
it may not be exactly on the exact topic that he was speaking on, but I've studied environmental issues, and I know that when the herbicides are sprayed along the roadsides and things like that, the weeds themselves, the plants have roots, and they will hold the soil in place and stabilize things so that the road stays in better shape. But when you go and you spray the herbicides there, it kills the plants, kills the roots, and they lose the stabilization factor. So I just wanted to mention that. Also, sometimes people get a little bit careless and they may go along where the trees are. And so that is damaging some trees that we really need.
Thank you, Holly. Yes, sir.
I'm just here to listen, but
Okay.
I too have signed a agreement to put in a battery storage facility
Okay.
in Itasca by the.
It's Bob from my desk.
Oh, hey, Bob, sorry. We usually ask people to recognize the name.
My name's Bob Strom. I get buried up in Itasca. I signed an agreement and I got a feeling that I'm gonna be economic development zone number 19. I'm not sure. But
That could be an accurate statement. I've not been approached by. Have you been approached by anybody from Itasca for a battery project yet, Mike? I haven't. The only things I know that are out there, there's a property that's most of it's, or some of it's within ETJ up here of Hillsborough. They want to put a solar farm in. But yeah, what we do with these is what you want to do with your land is your business. I own farm, I still farm. And so I didn't get that inherited like most people did, and they bought it. You blood, sweat, and tears. You work it between, well, I say I own it. It's me and the bank still own it. Let's put it that way. And we're trying to maximize acres. People got to do what they got to do to make things work for them. So I don't begrudge any person doing what they want to do with the land they own and how they want to do it. I know there's a lot of controversy. We take a lot of hits up here. People think that we can stop this. We can do something about it. The only way to stop this in the day is quit letting people move into the state. You know, when your population is exploding and doubling, you're going to see this kind of need for energy. They can't get the coal plants permitted anymore, so that's off the books. Like fire gas plants, they just don't want to build them. They're too expensive. So right now there's federal subsidies subsidizing this behavior, and they're going to continue to build these wind energy and these solars and these batteries. Now, the battery thing, I don't have a huge problem with. I think that finally is something that makes some sense, because what is the problem we have in this state is that at dusk, when that load comes offline for the green energy, but everybody shows up at the house and they start turning on the washing machine and the oven and everything, air conditioners. That has always been a bad part. The point that's been where we have trouble for the most part, that we've seen the last several years. With these battery storage, the idea is these guys are going to collect this energy instead of letting it go to waste. They're going to feed it back into the grid at that time to try to manage that transition, which, I mean, honestly, that makes sense. I hear people say, well, that electricity doesn't stay in Hill County. If it touches ERCOT, it's like a swimming pool. You can put a person in, and every drop of water you get in there afterwards is going to help that person get wetter. That's all there is to it.
I'm not sure that's exactly true.
Oh.
What I understand from these guys is their plan is to buy energy at night and sell it in the daytime.
Okay, so they're going to do it
Purchasing
differently.
Energy at night, they're not purchasing, they're purchasing energy that may be produced during the day.
So your guys, see, I hadn't come across that yet. So everybody here.
That's what they told, this is all.
No, I get you. So what they've told us is the only ones that we've dealt with so far, and public hearings, we're going to talk about this, if everybody needs to know. We've approved one of these or two of these for solar storage, and one now we're going forward on the wind energy. The thought on that is the solar obviously doesn't work at night. So when they've done those, that's what they've sold us on. And the same thing on the wind energy. They can produce more electricity than they can actually put on the grid. A lot of people say, well, why do you see those windmills sitting still? Because there's no room, that grid's just like a pipeline, anything else. You can only squeeze so much through it. But yours is a new one, and that may be the case that we start seeing some of that.
I think battery storage is not a bad idea.
Well,
The area they're looking for is a real small footprint. It's not like.
And
Yes.
sometimes they will go and make their deals with landowners before they ever come to us.
yes,
Because
yeah.
That's why I'm here, I just wanted to hear the process.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, well, we started off obviously with this reinvestment zone. We have to hold some public hearings under Texas law. And then we'll talk about the form of the tax abatement agreement, and we're doing that simply to enter into a road use agreement with them. It's pretty straightforward in all honesty.
No, they also require water because sometimes these batteries catch on fire and they're difficult to put out. You guys do anything with putting in providing fire hydrants for these?
The emergency,
it's self-contained, they have self-contained,
They'll have their own water storage and.
it's foam.
inside the tank. It goes off and it's self-contained. And the worst thing you can do with batteries is open it up and let oxygen in contain. So that's one of the things we require in the safety
Training.
agreements that we've added to these agreements, batteries, is that they put on training with the local first responders on how to address, problems with that battery storage, because there's certain things you've done. You may use water to cool off outside, but you wouldn't pour it straight up the batteries because it cause even more problems.
There's a lot that we require behind the scenes on these things, trying to protect the county, but we already had a fire on one back in Abbott a month and a half ago.
It's been a little long.
Okay. Anyway, those people had all been trained as pursuant to what we put in our agreements requiring that training first responders. And I think most of that was set back in just containment.
The boxes are especially the main boxes that they have a Halon system inside, but they also have explosive panels. No, I say explosive, what they do is they try to contain all that energy within that.
Oh, okay.
If it gets too bad, it pops these panels.
Let the pressure off.
To let the pressure off.
Okay.
It doesn't explode. And, they put water on it. I mean, you have to make sure that there's no power.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty important part, is not putting water on the power source.
But the one thing I can say is that people that run the plant were right there in the spot, directing the whole thing.
Miss Margot, you had,
Location
what's that?
of the battery that Mr. Dixon spoke about,
Oh,
This is actually gonna be just east of Bynum.
east of Bynum.
That's just south of 1946, FM 1946. It's actually on County Road 3423.
Is there anybody else today for a public hearing on the matter of a proposed reinvestment zone number 18 for Hill County for the Hubbard Energy Storage 2. Going once, going twice. We're going to move into our next agenda, which is number 3, discuss consideration action on creation designation of a county reinvestment zone made subject to the public hearing is county reinvestment zone number 18. We've heard the project. We've heard where it's going to be. Is there anybody in favor of creating the reinvestment zone?
I'll make a motion.
Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion regarding the topic of the consideration or action on creation and designation of county reinvestment zone 18? Hearing no questions, I'll call the question. Hearing no discussion, I will call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions? Let the record reflect the motion was 4 and 1 against, the nay being Commissioner Jim Holcomb. We're going to move along then. Discussion and consideration action on proposed form of tax abatement agreement with Hubbard Energy Storage LLC and directed the county judge to send notice of intent to enter into proposed tax abatement agreement to other taxing entities having taxing authority regarding the property. So now that we've done this, we hold public hearing, we had our notices. Now it's the time where we start identifying or with other taxing entities, schools, ESDs, things like that. So Mr. Dixon?
Yes, and again, the proposed capital investments, $115 million. The yearly abatement starts at 50%, but it goes down by 5% each year over the 10 years. That is one of the abatement schedules that y'all set for the different levels.
I believe it's 25%, 20. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'll do the math real quick. It came collectively under 30%. I remember that. I want to say it was took down about 25%.
Where it averages out to.
Yeah, where it averages out. Yes, sir.
Yeah, over 10-year period.
Right. I don't know if it's 20. I thought it was 30.
It may be 30. Maybe I'm misspeaking. Go ahead.
And again, the additions and improvements be done by the first quarter of 2026. This is just a proposed agreement. It's not the final agreement. We have to give a 30-day notice and hold another public hearing on the actual approval of the tax abatement agreement. So, and 2 things that have been added over time are the safety covenants for battery, and then also the matter that y'all acted on a couple of weeks ago, which is taking away the letter of credit and bond and requiring a cash escrow with the treasurer for the road use agreement.
Good deal. Questions, gentlemen?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. So motion and second to approve form of the tax abatement agreement with Hubbard Wind 2 LLC and empower the county judge to send notice of said agreement to the respective taxing entities that this might affect. Other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion to carry unanimously. All right, number 5. I put this on an agenda a while back, and due to a lack of foresight on my part of not having a secretary this week, I don't have it for you today. I really need input. I've got Jim's input, but from everybody else regarding the culvert setting policy. We've got to go forward and nail this thing down. It's one of the last pieces that are hinging on our new subdivision rules getting finalized. We basically, the gist of things is this at the moment. We want to create a central location like we did for OSSF and floodplain where people know they can go to get a permit. Or I think since none of you guys have administrative folks, if we put this in your barns, it's going to be a nightmare. People ringing phones and calling me. I can't get hold of the commissioner. He won't answer me. So what you guys fall into this, obviously it's your precincts and you guys have the absolute authority to run it like you see fit. I would recommend that we have a central area to get the permit, even figure out how we do it online, take credit cards, just like we do with OSSF. Then as part of that, they're required to go to the commissioner. The commissioner will, or his designee, will meet on site, determine the size of the horn, the location of the horn. And then once those things are done, and only then can they go either pay their contractor to install it or something along those lines. Once it's installed, I have the commissioner coming back out to re-inspect it. If it is not correct, it needs to be removed. If they fail to remove it, well, by Mr. Lake, we'll remove it for you. That's the general area I'm going. The contents of what that, materials, forgive me, that can be used. I don't want to see us do the old concrete 4-footers anymore. Those things just move in these soils are not good. Modern tin horns are built so much better than they have in the past. I would like to see us require concrete safety ends on the end of these things. 2 reasons. Number one, obviously public safety. It's a matter of the state of Texas does it. We've had how many people hit these stinking things over the years on our roads. It's a mess. Number 2, and I'm not dogging on the trash folks because they're necessary, but man, it seems like wherever you put, yeah, where you put a trash can at is where they're going to crush your culvert. That's all there is to it. So by putting the concrete safety ends on it, it's going to keep those culverts from being crushed. It means water stays off your roads so the rock can stay on your roads. I think it's an overall sound policy, but I really need some input. Again, I've got Jim's. He went through it. I need you guys to get me some input on it. If you like that advance, what I'm thinking, great, but I don't install culverts. I really want to know what y'all are thinking.
So the part of that we talked about last time we
Yeah.
set it up
Yeah.
was having that permit in the frequent installed prior to awarding a 911 address, because that's all the handling you've got. You know, and if you give that up and you get a 911 address, they're gonna go put whatever they want to on their schedule so they can get in and start construction. That's just my perspective.
Does it have to be concrete safety end or just can it be the safety?
Say it again.
And does it have to be concrete ends or can it just be safety ends? You know, they make the taper tin horn attachments that you put on the end of the horns.
You know, my knowledge is limited on this stuff, and I went with concrete because what the state does, but if that's sufficient for the commissioners, you guys think to keep them crushing, you know, my main goal is to keep those from being crushed. And, you know, every time you crush a culvert, it clogs up, water goes across the road, blows something out, it's taxpayer dollars.
I can understand Jim's situation, but
Yeah,
my precinct, I don't have
yes,
that congestion like he does yet.
okay, so you'd like to modify it to where,
Well, I'm just looking at the expense of, you know, the landowner, because those.
Yeah.
horns,
Cheap.
No, they're not.
I
They're
just
not.
did that on my driveway, $500.
but they have to do, just remember, what I'm asking for is the exact same thing the state of Texas asks for if you're on one of their roads. It's no difference. And we're getting more and more people on our roads, obviously, more and more of the county gets divided up, more people move here. I'm not opposed to that. If you gentlemen tell me, write it in with that, I'll happily write it in. But the reason I'm advocating for the concrete ends, it's the same thing TxDOT does.
You know, it depends on what size culvert it is. The culverts have gotten very expensive. And
Oh,
you go
yes.
adding concrete safety ends on them, that adds another expense.
Put concrete safety in a 24-inch culvert, that's $500.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, I've got some folks, I got a gentleman right now that's putting in a 36-inch horn on the driveway. You put concrete ends on that.
Well, we could limit it in size if that was a question, say anything 18 inches or under would required to have it. I mean, we've got different options.
Those are the ones that are crushed first.
Correct. Yeah, I've rarely seen too many of the 30-inch up culverts crushed in.
We try to cut, you know, we install one, and even the big ones, we try to cut those to 45 slow, so you don't have that.
No, it's a good plan. I mean, it's a solid thing to do. It's just, I need input from you guys, and I know you're busy. I know this other stuff's taking paramount. You guys worked last week to get those stuff in the T-den.
Generally, I won't recommend anything under 20 foot. I usually recommend at least 30 feet.
So that's another deal. All right. So 30 feet, is that the consensus, gentlemen?
I'd agree with that.
Because trailers,
Trailers,
you know,
in some cases, 40.
that's what I usually recommend when somebody wants to put a culvert in. I say, are you gonna be pulling a gooseneck in or a long trailer or, 20 foot won't do it.
Even a 20-foot with safety ends, you know, that's.
Yeah, so,
Oh, man. Agreed.
What about letting pour the concrete safety ends? I've seen some people. do
I wouldn't have a problem with that. That wouldn't,
They're prefab.
yeah. Or,
they make, they make slanted safety ends.
yeah.
Which would be cheap.
I hadn't bought any concrete lately, so I don't want to tell lies, but I heard it's not cheap.
Yeah.
Okay, so minimum 30 foot, but does anybody have a problem with the proposed administration of this, going to a single point and then coming out to y'all after they got their initial things taken care of with Mrs. Karen or whoever's running that show. And then you guys saying, hey, this is what the sign, they gotta, we'll try to put a form, so it's pretty easy. Go out there, look at it. You pull out the form, or they have the form, whatever. Hey, permit number such and such, commissioner requires 30-foot culvert, 24 inches diameter, whatever, sign on it. Well, you were talking about after, so unless there's something that would prohibit us from doing that in the law that I'm aware of, I don't have a problem with that. Now, you're going to have times people are going to say, well, I'm not thinking of putting in a 911 address at this point. I'm not putting in, or I'm getting a 911 address, but I'm not putting in a driveway.
Yeah.
Or you're going to have people in subdivisions that do it. There's going to come up times people that own existing property that, well, like for me, if I want to put another place, road cuts me in half. If I want to go on the east side of the road and put another crossing into my property, I've already got a 911 address and that, I don't need that. So there's going to be times when it won't be, but I don't think that'll be the rule. I think that's going to be the exception.
Wouldn't the existing was being grandfathered?
Existing would be grandfathered, yes, but we still, if I was going to set a culvert, even though I already own the land, I just wanted to put another entrance in the property because whatever, it's aesthetically pleasing. I don't need another 911 address. So that wouldn't be a hammer for me on that situation.
Sure.
So what I'm saying is, I think the majority, yes, majority of people are going to find out putting culverts, they want a 911, but there will be some that don't. Yes, sir.
If you put another entrance to that property, the physical address change.
Not for me. I wouldn't use it for anything. Why would I do it? Yeah, it's just filled.
Just for access.
Yeah, just for access.
Got a problem, hasn't
Yeah, getting the tractors in and out of it, going up the north end of that field, Actually, I'm just using mine as an example. I don't know, but I think.
Well, it comes from that one, that's fair.
Yeah,
Maybe the property entrance, where the drive is, what turns to that.
we'll put this in perspective. So the east side of my farm, right? There's a creek that cuts the lower third off from the upper 2/3. Upper 2/3 is my cornfield, cotton field. There's no way to get across that creek. The only address in that entire property bordered on two sides by FM roads, right in front of the house. So like where I go the old railroad track, no address. That's my access. So I'm saying that we can't make it 100% in the language contingent upon, but we can push it in that direction with the there'll be some exceptions to it. So I get your point, and I think it's a good one, because what's the hammer? We have the carrot and the stick. What's the stick? Well, the stick is, and most people, yeah, you don't get a 911, you don't do this. How do we get people to get 911 addresses? Because some people don't want to do that. Well, state law says you have to have 911 to get electricity. So it's kind of a cascading series of events. I don't mean to make this more difficult than it needs to be. It's just the state tells us what we can and can't do, and trying to maneuver or work inside of that framework is sometimes difficult. But so having a central location or a permit, we've got some agreed upon functions for the length of the culvert, and then the safety ends, either concrete or metal. That's good as long as it's got something on it. And then of course requiring the commissioner to be, or the commissioner's designated one to actually lay site on it. And they have to sign off before it can be installed. And then we'll make it very clear in our rules that if they install it improperly, you install it without the permit, you install something other than what was approved, it's coming back out by motor grader. So,
The 911 office just ask people, are you going to be saying?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think so. I think there's a solution to it. It's fairly simple. Yeah. But with that being said, yes, ma'am, go ahead. Which one? Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. You're a little ahead of me in that thought process. I just make sure I get them to agree to something. I was gonna figure out how to pay for it. But yeah, I don't know what that software is. So I can't speak intelligently on it. Oh, yes. Well, so right now Karen uses the current software for both the floodplain and OSSF, permit, not the permit. Yeah, permit. So I wouldn't see why you couldn't use this. Maybe so. We can look into it. I think it'd be the easiest thing to do if we could accomplish it. Yeah, yeah. That's kind of what we want to do. Make sure it's easy for the financial people too, to, we take in this, what was this for? So we can account for it at a later date. We don't want a situation where it's difficult to figure out why we took this money in.
Do you guys have, did you see the digital version of this?
A while back. A couple months ago. I will be happy to resend that email to everybody then. Okay, well, good deal. Well, guys, that's what I needed was some clarification because I do need to get this done. So this will be coming up again. And I hope that what I draft you guys are going to like so that we can get this down the road.
I think we should have it where they can't pour concrete out into the road either.
Oh, that's
I
a
think it
great
needs
point.
to be gravel, and I still think it needs to be concrete units. And a 14 gauge is part of better.
So, okay, no point. It is, we use
is,
14, yes, sir, 14 gauge. We want to make sure it's thick enough steel. We originally left out plastic too, because we'd seen some people use plastic, like tubular culverts.
CD.
Yeah, there's a word for it.
Yeah.
And I've heard that they clog up kind of nasty. I don't know.
Well, it's red too.
Yeah, what's y'all's thoughts?
They have a dark side and you wind up cleaning.
They need quite a bit of dirt on them in case concrete trucks go in.
Okay, what are you guys interested in allowing use of those for culvert material? Okay, the other thing, I can put language in here regarding the concrete or steel ends that the commissioner, again, you still have the ability. We're just trying to give some understanding to the public at large what the process is to get a code permit. And we could still leave it up to the commissioner at your discretion to require a steel or concrete end. And it won't be, hey, you have to go this way or that way. You just have to have some sort of safety end. Would that be acceptable?
I'd prefer not to be in there, but
I
I just want to pour, so.
I got you. Okay.
You know,
All right.
if
Anything?
everybody keeps putting these 10-acre deals in, we're gonna have culverts all down the road and it's.
And that's
Someone after people as old as Crumpton and I that are commissioners
not old.
after us. Had several birthdays. Anyway, the
Had several
people
birthdays.
behind us are gonna have a problem.
Well, and you know, look, a lot of this has come to our attention because exactly what you're talking about. And the state of Texas has got a pretty interesting little crew here locally for TxDOTs. And used to, you could just get access off of one of their roads, an FM high, not the interstate, but an FM road, a state highway, pretty easily. Nowadays, more and more in those subdivision hearings you have, you see that the TxDOT people come to our subdivision hearings by invitation. And they're very good about showing up, especially with the right-of-way agents. And they will say, oh yeah, hey, well, there's a culvert. We can let you entrance here, but only one entrance and you're gonna have to build your private road for it. And I get why they're doing that. Trying to get out of my house. I poured that slab, bought that farm back in the mid 2000s. Poured a slab in there in 2000, October 19. Traffic wasn't too bad, but I said, I'm gonna leave my entrance down at the bottom of the hill, just pay the extra money for the gravel. Moved in there on the 4th of July of 20. The traffic in that time period has no less than tripled. And getting in and out of my driveway, even though I'm at the bottom of the hill, I left it that way for a reason, can be scary. And I worry about my children. Yeah, it's just people speed down these roads. Even when we put up speed limit signs, people tend not to obey them. The line of sight on those roads has become way more important for TxDOT now than it ever has been in the past. And I think that's something we need to start taking into consideration. I'm not trying to be punitive to anybody. I'm just trying to be conscious of the safety issue. And if we have, 70 culverts in a 1 mile stretch, man, how do we maintain that? That's never going to work because you can't clean out the ditches, you can't clean out the culverts. That's going to be a constant mess. So in the future, I'm not saying at this very moment, but I think what we're headed towards is trying to maintain our roads. We're going to have to put in some looking at line of sights, how spacing on culverts, things like that. We already had that one problem up in your precinct where that guy wanted to put, I don't know, was it 40 some odd culverts in a row? That was never going to work out. It would be a situation where they clog those culverts up and it'd be a nightmare. So, yes, sir. So that's why this policy is important to me. We are articulating what we would like to do to the community as a whole. We're finding why we're doing this and we're going to let them know. At the same time, this is not a starting point, but it's towards progression of what we're attempting to accomplish, which is to put in a set of rules that we're all gone. We get voted out, we leave, whatever, that there's some continuity there. So the next group of people know what to do and know how this works, and they can modify it accordingly. That's my goal with this culvert policy, is that having a document that says what our values are, why we're doing what we're doing, how you need to do this, and communicate that openly and transparently.
I like to do.
I do too, personally. I got you. we will work on that language and figure out.
The only reason I suggest the metal ends is, like I said, in my precinct, I've got miles and miles and miles of open road. Guy's got an entrance going into a pasture that he uses twice a year.
Yeah.
I mean, make him spend all that money just to.
Well, no, it wouldn't be for anything pre-existing if that helps.
Well, I understand.
Okay,
But
any
I'm-
new construction?
Yes,
Okay,
and it would be up to our discretion. I mean, I've got some spots that could use some safety of the concrete ends. You know, I recommend, hey, you need a concrete end on this and we're gonna be changing this color every 2 years,
yeah.
you know, something like that.
I will try to come up with some language and ship it out so that you guys can look at it to address that single issue if we can find some room on that. So, okay,
To,
how's that work?
well, it's got an extendable arm that goes on the end of your mini X with ratchets and
Okay.
chains. And it'll go up to 10 feet out. It's got different sized patterns. So when you take it out on one side and you put it in, they lay flat against the end of it. You push it halfway in and you pull it out and it pulls all the material.
Oh,
They're an inch and a half shorter than the diameter of the hole. So
okay.
you can pull the material out on one side and the other. And it's also got a tool that will allow you to straighten culverts out and
Oh, that's pretty slick.
about that.
Okay, good to know. Okay, that's good to know. I'm gonna tell you what, that's not a huge expense. The amount of damage done to our roads every year from clogged up culverts, crushed
But
culverts.
in all sincerity, take it off.
So in theory, it sounds good.
In theory, it sounds good.
I got you. All right, well, good deal. Well, gentlemen, thank you for the discussion on that. Number 6 today is discussion of approved healthcare bids, ancillary services bids. I'm going to ask you to take no action. I was contacted last Friday evening by our insurer. The rate that he's got for us staying with Blue continues to go down, and he wants one more week. He's negotiating, so we'll take him up in next week when we. Oh, yeah, by the way, I'm calling a commissioner's court for next Tuesday. If you got anything you want to put on it, Susan, let me know. Same thing, Rachel. The main point of that commissioner's court, though, is to take action on the RFP. Believe me, it's worth your time to come next Tuesday. It's going to be good. We'll save some money on this and still keep good healthcare for the county. Number 7 is discuss and or approve communication system agreement between Hill County and Itasca ISD. Gentlemen, this is the form of the agreement this court has previously approved. This is the communication system agreement between Hill County and Itasca ISD, whereby they are going to utilize the 800 megahertz trunk radio to be their communication system. What is exciting to us about this is it puts everybody on the same page, where if we show up to a bad event, we can all communicate. I know Scott will break windows down if you don't talk to him when you show up at school. So, in which I'm all for that, but this is what we're using to try to do better communication. So I would recommend that we approve this agreement between this communication system agreement between Hill County and Itasca ISD.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? I shall call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Ayes have it and those know it, and it's signed. There you go, ma'am. Moving us along then to number 8, observe and record Hill County Emergency Service District number 2 financial statements for the year ended September 30th, 2023. We do not operate the the ESD, but we are required by the Health and Safety Code to look at their audit each year as they present it to us. The audit's independent report is his opinion, which is no material findings. That's good. That's a good thing. And you can look all across. Go to page number 6, was it? Yeah, 36. And page 6 shows their statement of net assets, their ending position, summary of changes. They've moved up a considerable amount. Some of that is obviously in real estate as well. They bought a piece of property or two out the county, putting these landing zones in, trying to get better service to our constituents. So we appreciate their efforts on our behalf. But anyway, all said and done, another good audit. We observe and record this. That means we put it in the clerk's record so the whole county can come and look at it if they want to. Make a motion in a second to observe and record the Hill County Emergency Service District number 2 financial statements for the year ended September 30th, 2023. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I shall call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstention? Motion carries unanimously. Number 8, I tell you what we're going to do. Miss Margaret's been waiting real patiently here. And after I can have you gentlemen's permission, I'd like to jump ahead to number 16. And that is discuss and approve replat for Cottonwood Ranch. I have right underneath me, sorry. See, I told you without Paula here, I'm kind of a mess. All right, so Cottonwood Ranch is a replat, and we asked them to do a couple of things. They complied with that. This is going to be up here in precinct number 3. And you can see that it has gone through the development committee. The development committee has set it back for corrections. They got back to corrected, and the development committee now recommends it for the commissioner's court approval.
Make motion, please.
All right, motion a second to approve a replat of Cottonwood Ranch Section 3 being a part of Lot 19, Cottonwood Ranch Section 3, James Harper Survey, Aspect 360, Hill County. There's just the one. You got all that? You're gonna repeat that later, right? Good deal. All right. Well, I will call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Yeah, let's get to them so we can sign both of them. And then we'll get them signed, and then afterwards they'll get them filed. Have you already paid the filing fees?
I've already paid the fee except the $45 to file it. I've
Okay,
paid
good
the
deal.
$3.90.
All right. Well, I guarantee the clerk will come after you for that if you need to.
Secretary, she already said I want to go.
All right, it's the 9th day of July. Yeah, let me put that on this real quick and pass this thing around. Thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate that. All right, so we have that approved. The next is a plat for the May Spring subdivision in Mount Palm. You got anything to do with that one? I didn't think so. Okay, so May Spring subdivision, so which case then we've got her taken care of. We're going to move back up to number 9, which is discuss and or approve certification of revenues. Ms. Swilling has some certification of revenues for us this date.
Oh, yeah, you know, that last night.
It's okay. I saw it at 9:30 last night and replied to it, so.
This is concerning the DA, district attorney and county attorneys. Senate Bill 20 state grant funds. Right now, we deposited the money in the general fund, but the way our accounting system is, we need that to be in their own separate fund where it'll allocate a percentage, whatever salary supplement that are giving these attorneys are the ones that are being fully paid from these funds. If we have it in a different fund, it separates the Social Security, Medicare, retirement on a percentage basis. So, and it also keeps track of their funds where we don't have to go back in and try to calculate how much do you have left at the end of the year. Just simplifies our accounting, gives them a good system where they can see where they are, you know, how much funds have been used, and for reporting back to the state, of course, you know, they're still working on that. They need that all the money, and then later they're gonna make the rules for how we tell them how we spend it.
Yes.
They have some guidelines, but anyway, I just wanted to certify the funds, and I've sent an email to the county attorney and district attorney establishing their budget for the funds. So they each received $175,000.
What's it? Yeah, I just confirming their number was different. So what was being asked to be done here is the first certification of revenues. Forgive me again, without secretary, I don't have the paperwork in front of you. But what we're asking is to certify those two amounts of funding. We funded, or we anticipated the SB 22 funds for the sheriff's office. So that doesn't need to be certified. That's actually included in last year's budget. But the then auditor did not. And these, so what Susan's asking us to do is certify the $175,000 that the county attorney's got, the $175,000 that Mark Pratt got. That'll be the first action. Then we're gonna come back to the budget amendments, talk about this chart of account changes. So I'll make a motion to approve the certification of revenue of the SB 22 funds for both the Hill County District Attorney's Office and the Hill County Attorney's Office. Sorry, got off my word there. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further consideration? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Any abstentions? The motion will carry. Bringing us on to our budget amendments. And then, so as she was saying, to better track these things, because I have the exact same fear that Susan does. We're flying this airplane while the state of Texas is still trying to build it. And that's a good way to crash your airplane. So the SB 22 funds are supposed to, we are told, to be ongoing. We can apply for them again this August 1st, forgive me, August 1st. You know, if it was so important, why do I gotta apply for it every year if it's going to be ongoing? So what I'm getting at is having a better and easier way to track this is going to be very helpful to us at a later date, because I could see the state of Texas either A, wanting some accounting of where this money went. I mean, I would, that's the responsible thing to do.
We are to be on.
Yeah, so all that being said, by setting up this chart of accounts different than it was, so that it's actually in their own accounts and be under the special budgets in the budget, it makes a lot of sense to me, and I think that's something that we need to do. Besides the two SB 22, is there any other budget amendments we need today?
Yes, sir. The sheriff's money is just in our general fund grant revenue, and I was doing a budget amendment to establish their own line, just
Good deal.
so that for clarity.
Perfect.
And so we were doing a budget amendment to subtract out of grant revenue 350,000 and put it into the sheriff's
Yes.
grant revenue of 350,000.
Okay.
It's all in the general fund.
No, it makes sense. Yeah.
And the next one was just for my department.
Yep.
To subtract 13,500 from staff wages. And
Add it to
put that into
part-time.
part-time wages of 7,500 to help cover Kathy's, and then
Overtime.
overtime 6,000.
That's a good point.
We had extra money, so there was no need to ask for it from the contingency.
Oh, good. Thank you very much.
JP Whitney, Trey John asked for a budget amendment to add $194 to his postage and take it out of his miscellaneous account.
Your finger looks like mine.
It always works. Road and Bridge One requested to add 10,000 to his staff wages and take it out of part-time wages. And Precinct 3 had requested in our budget alignment that we kind of went over last time to add 5,000 to his FM lateral fuel and take that from his road and bridge fuel.
Okay.
And that is it.
Those are the budget amendments as presented, gentlemen.
Make a motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the aforementioned budget amendments.
You can just have those and give them to the.
Okay, good deal. I'm gonna start these around. Is there any further discussion on any of these budget amendments? Everybody understands what we're doing? Okay, well, in which case, I will call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstention, motion carries unanimously. That gentleman that was there, was he here for something specific? Oh, good. Oh, wonderful. Well, he's just so nice. Sitting here quietly, it's like, oh, I hope there's not something on the agenda and he had to go.
No, if there's anything else I needed to do on those,
Oh,
y'all
yeah.
take them up to the county clerk.
County clerk here.
Oh, you're.
Yeah. We make it easy on ourselves. We just bring the clerk to the meeting. It's so much easier.
Go and pay the $45 for filing it right now. I guess so.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, but I don't need anything else with that.
No, ma'am. That, once you pay that 45, they'll get, they filed in the public record and you're good to go. The second copy though, what do you guys
I guess we give it
get back to her with
sticker.
the sticker, the stamp? I want to call it a file stamp, but I guess that's what it is. So once you pay your 45, we keep one copy, you get the other copy, but with the certification language or stamp. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you send that to me, or you want me to come back and pick it up, or what do you want to do?
We'll call you if you'll leave your number with the girls.
I mean,
Call you.
do that, I was ready for 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay, good deal. Thank you, Ms. Margot.
Thank you all so much.
Yes, ma'am. All right, number 11, discuss and approve monthly bank balance report for June of 2024. You have before you in your packet a monthly bank balance report provided by the Hill County Treasurer, Ms. Rachel Parker. You'll see we started the budget year, or started the month beginning June 24 with $15,165,604.39 across all funds. We have a ending closing balance of $13,730,321.06. So that's where our cash position is at the moment. Any questions about our bank balance report for this month? Motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions, the motion will carry unanimously way. All right, and 2 places to sign, front and back. All right, moving along, discuss and approve court dates for FY25. So I don't have to take action today on that one, but I want to start talking about it because I think it's good and we can take action on it. So what we're looking at is we do the second and fourth Tuesday, but during budget time, because of somehow some of the statutes are worded, you have to adopt this during a regular meeting of the Commissioners Court. We go ahead, like starting last year, just most every Tuesday in August and most of the Tuesdays in September become regular budget. I'm recommending that again, personally. I think that while, yeah, I know we don't want to see each other once a week all year round because we have things that we need to do out in our precincts with limited manpower. I still believe that we need to be meeting every Tuesday in August and September. So if you look at the schedule prepared by the Treasurer's Office, you look at our Commissioners Court date starting on the 8th of October is the second Tuesday, and it runs through. And you get down to 2025, you'll see 1, 2, 3, we're missing a meeting, and actually I need to add one here. I didn't catch that. I apologize. That's going to be August the 5th, 8/5. Oh, you did? Okay, this is the only one I got. My apologies. Okay, I'll pass this around in a second. So August 9, 16, and 23, 9, 30. Perfect. So, and then we're looking at the pay dates on this as well. What dates the pay cycle is going to happen. And then the final calculation of due payroll, how the payroll is going to work. So we don't have to take action on it today, but I want to make it available to everybody. I would like to take action on it for the next meeting or so and get this stuff knocked out. Specifically, I'd like to get it done before the end of July. And when we jump into budget time, because August, we're going to try to knock as much out this month as we can, because we will. September is going to bring a nice relief from being in the courthouse. So. That's the other thing that needs to be proposed. Do you guys want to do it on the 24th? So 24th is Tuesday, 25th is Wednesday. You want to do a meeting the morning of the 24th? I'm not opposed to that personally. But we have that off as a holiday. So how does it fall? So. Yeah, we got to talk about that secondly.
Well, it is.
Well, since we're.
It's that Tuesday.
Okay. Well, we've got so the 2025 holiday schedule, and I'm confused because it has December 24th and 25th as Monday and Tuesday. Yes.
So we won't be done.
You're talking about 20. Okay, forgive me. You're talking about 24. Yeah, no. I understand what you're telling me. I didn't catch that you're talking 24 is the issue. Well, like I said, we'll discuss it, figure out what we want to do on it, but probably not taking any action today. Let everybody run through it and figure it out. The other thing is the holiday schedule. Since we're not going to take any action on it, she got me a copy. The treasurer got me her copy this morning. We'll get another copy of that for everybody. We're looking at the same number of holidays as previous years: the New Year's, MLK, President's Day, Good Friday, Memorial Day, Juneteenth, Independence Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, and Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. So we're not added any. You remember we used to take Texas Independence Day off, but when the feds added Juneteenth, we didn't want to pay for another holiday, so we traded those holidays out, and that's how that worked. Questions about this, or does everybody want time to look at it and take action on next court? Your choice. You want to take time back action? I like it. I think it's a good schedule, but I have no problem if we want to. This is the first time you guys are seeing it. I'm not trying to pressure anybody to do anything. So, okay. So let me make notes on this. Yes. Yeah, I saw the email. Yeah, no, I got it. I don't think they saw it. Yeah, I know you sent it. Yes. I will vouch that you sent me an email after 9 o'clock last night. No, I'm sure you did. Yeah. No, you and Sarah, Susan both. I was responding to emails after 9:30 last night with Susan. So yeah, I'm aware of her hours. And then this brings us down to the preliminary plat for the Mayspring Mount Calm subdivision, which would be number 15 on your articles there today. The Mayspring Mount Calm subdivision plat is one that was ready for approval of a preliminary plat only. This plat. Copy, right? There we go. Okay. Just get everybody did. The paperwork is in order. It's been through the development committee back and forth with the parties to get the corrections needed. And we are at this time satisfied with the corrections made and recommend this for approval as preliminary plat. Gentlemen, there's 2 copies and we'll pass one to the east side, one to the west side of the table. This is subdivision that we've been working or made consideration. What we've had with it was that lot number 1, which is the 8.6 acres. It's going to have access off of the state highway right away. That is a state highway there, right? Correct. Yeah. And that's finally been resolved. They've got their permit from TxDOT to do that now, which is something that we require. If they have to have a TxDOT permit, we're not going to bring it to you for approval till they have that permit in place. We're tired of people putting subdivisions up, or that used to put subdivisions up and then not do it, leave us holding the bag for it. So that's not going to happen again, if I can help it.
How are we doing with flood situation out here?
Out where?
All these lower lying areas, this drainage easement pond and.
Actually, those are all terraces.
Yeah.
This used to be farmland. It's all terrace land.
Okay.
It was turned into pasture land 40 years ago. And it's,
As you can see, the flood statement we require at the top of it, according to the flood insurance map for Hill County, Texas, and incorporated areas community panel, and it gives you the number. Anyway, this statement, we have to put it in there. Part of our preliminary plat, you'll see on these contour lines that are there, it doesn't necessarily say it's in a floodplain or not with contour lines, but what it's telling you is that that's where the water's headed, because we want to know. We want to know when you build a subdivision, what effect is it going to have on your neighbors? What's it going to have on county roads and other things that we maintain? So we're not going to allow lots that are going to be wholly in the floodplain. That's just not something we'll do. It's too big of a problem. There has to be a net 1 acre that's buildable by our rules. And I think that we've been pretty good about enforcing that. This particular subdivision is just right outside the territorial jurisdiction of the city of Mount Calm, Texas. The water, yeah. That's a pond.
Yeah.
Well, it's got past our surveyor, so yes. Our county engineer, our guy, actually county engineer said they could do it, so. And I trust Jesse.
There's 8 lots there. There's gonna be 8 culverts.
10 lots. 10.
Okay.
Yeah, 10
Yeah.
culverts.
And that's another problem with a lot of our county roads. We don't have room for more bridges.
Agreed.
Do you have them here?
So we will here. So look, you see the setback line? When we do these subdivisions, we require setbacks. That setback line is, they can't build anything in front of it so that we can maintain our future road. So part of the subdivision process has been them asking for us to approve subdivision. We're going to do it in such a fashion that we make plans for the future as well. So that's what this front setback line is.
30 feet.
Center line.
and this one we actually do, because this county road is actually the old highway,
Old
old
state.
highway 31.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty wide, or we have a lot of easement there. Passenger
This
sitting.
is a good example of our culvert setting.
Amen.
Yep.
Yes, sir. That is a perfect example of it.
And
That's,
this is one that would probably require the concrete in.
I would say so wholeheartedly.
Because it's so tight.
Yeah. You get one of those culverts stopped up, you got a mess on your hands.
So. Like I said, this is one I would require or request the concrete ends. The ones that's 5 miles in between gates. Was where I would say,
How deep is your ditch?
It's pretty gentle here because that, like I said, used to be old State Highway 31. It's not I don't remember how deep that is though.
that ditch is probably 2-3 foot deep in places. It's got a culvert, actually. Well, it doesn't show it on the roadway. Where this pond drains out,
Across the road.
and we've got a culvert right there,
Mhm.
and then one down the west end of it.
So you're gonna pull that ditch.
We'll have to clean it off. It's growing up trees right now. It's a mess.
Questions regarding it? I mean, that's what our job is, to question everything.
a lot of our ditches are grown up in trees and you start clearing trees and knocking trees out and people get all upset about losing what tree they've got.
I long ago found out you can do nothing right in this job.
Mhm.
So do the best, do the right thing and let.
My attorney says I got 30 feet on either side of the road.
My turn says. What that thing says. Yeah.
Looks like a project
Oh, yeah.
for the precinct.
Well, not necessarily. If they're gonna put in a driveway, they're gonna clean the trees out and that's on them.
Yeah.
If there's any ditch work or dirt work to be done, we can do that, but tree removal is up to the land.
Yeah, but you have, so many people come in here and you're seeing this kind of same setup in subdivisions. They find it's the cheapest way. They buy a piece of land, divide it, come get it approved, jack the price of it way up, make their bucks. But they do it where it's all the common access off the county road. That I can see there's a time in the future where that's not going to be allowed. You're not going to be able to because of sight lines, distances, that there'll be so many people here that we won't be able to do that safely anymore. Right now, that's not the case. It complies with the rules and that's the reason it's been. What's that? They can get water meters. They did not install water meters yet. This is a preliminary plan.
Meet as far as the requirements that will have to be. Water service, meter at each.
So here's what the requirements are under our rules currently. So what we've got is we require them to fill out this application. All the things on that plat are requirements of our definition. We have the application plat. They got to sign it. So there they are to date it. This is the ETJ. It's not within the area, as I said, it's just outside the extraterritorial jurisdiction of Mount Calm. So they've got that. Then we have tax certificates. We don't approve subdivisions where the taxes aren't paid on the property. That's just, taxes paid. So you see the tax certificates came out from Hill County, Mount Calm ISD, Lateral Road, ESD 1 and 2. To answer the water question, Byron Water Supply, which is pretty well run. Apex Acres Holdings has done an investigation for meter services on their tract, which is that right there. Apex Acre Holdings is a developer in this matter. Byron Water Supply has received confirmation from our engineers that we can service the property for the following purposes if the property owners. 1, upgrade the line to the property as outlined in the engineering study and pays all associated costs for the project for the 10 meters and line extension. I recommend that anybody going through this process, if you're a small water supply corporation, get yourself a good engineer. It's important nowadays. So, but yeah, we require that they have proof, a study, not just the water company that, yes, that's our service area, but saying, yes, we've actually done the study and we can service those, or we can service them with these additions, which the party is responsible for. Before we do the final point though, yeah, I'm going to try to force them to put the water meters in. I mean, I think that it needs to happen personally. My 10 cents is if you make it to the study and they build this, okay, well, what if they don't sell them right away? They don't put the water meters in and the situation changes. Somebody builds another subdivision down the street, are those water meters still available in 5-6 years? And that's one of the biggest issues we see for development in Hill County is the lack of water. So
that was my question. They do have access to water.
Yeah, Byron Water Supply is what I just read off of. So they required to do the study. And from now on, if they come to us and say they're going to put a well in, as of January 1, it's mandatory. They have to have that. Yeah, they're going to help us with it, but that's that. There's a specific name for this type of engineer, hydrologic engineer, what I'm looking for, has to do a study on it. And then we're going to grow into prairie lands pursuant to our interlocal agreement. And that's not going to be cheap. That's going to be expensive. But again, water is going to be our #1 issue. Anyway, gentlemen, so this one was passed out of the development committee after review by all associated parties and is recommended the court approve the preliminary plat for the May Spring Mount Calm subdivision.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve a preliminary plat for the May Spring Mount Calm subdivision. Well, signed, not the preliminaries, no, sir. No, sir. No, the minute I have that come out of my mouth, I'll find out next week, Paula. You should sign that. But for right now, I feel comfortable that no, the answer is no. Yeah, we don't usually sign preliminaries.
They don't get confused.
All right, well, ladies and gents, again, that is the last item is discussion of final plat for Waddell. I put that on there with the understanding from the developer that they would bring something in. They've not brought it in at this time, so I have nothing for you to take action on. That being said, that's going to conclude our meeting for the day. Just remember, you've got your budget request forms. Please get them to me as quick as you can, because we are going to have a truncated time to get our final budget out.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Last person, motion and second. And my final comment is, those who don't return a budget, they don't get a budget. So, all right.